Nigerian and chairman of President Buhari Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption. Itse was a young man then. Most people who signed up as American Peace Corps volunteers do so for various reasons, one of which is to influence change in their service communities. And for 34 years, between 1961 and 1995, Nigeria had the privilege of having these change makers hold different roles, such as teachers in different parts of the nation. Edo College got its first share of these volunteers as teachers in those days, and they played a significant role in my education. I had British, Indian, American, and other foreign teachers, and they were outstanding. Miss Pear and sundry teachers. Love, they say, strikes at the most unexpected times and in the strangest places. What I heard might more appropriately be termed infatuation, and at an unusual time indeed. I developed a crush for Miss Pear, a young Peace Corps lady who taught us English language. I was love-struck enough to even compose a birthday poem for her titled, "Oh, Miss Pear." I read the poem to her on her birthday, and she was so flattered that she gave me a tight hug that left me feeling made for life. My dear Miss Pear is now in her early 80s and lives in England. Teachers are like technology app programmers. They can write a program of life sequence in the heart of their students. They are like sculptors. They can mold perception, worldview, and ultimately the destinies of their pupils. Of a truth, there is no telling the extent to which a touch, a smile, a word of encouragement, or a frown from a teacher can impart and shape a life. Celestial Church Adventure. I would have gotten married at the end of secondary school if the celestial prophetess I met then had gotten their wishes. I was in class 5 when I fell ill with rashes all over my body. My schoolmates took me to many places looking for solution, but my body remained a mess. It was a friend called Emmanuel Obi Arinze who told me of a celestial church of Christ behind our school. He advised me to go there for healing. The Celestial Church of Christ was founded in 1947 by Samuel Biliwu J. Oshofa. The church is distinguished by the long white robes worn by its members and usually on bare feet, a similarity they share with the aloud church. I took Arinze's advice, and some colleagues and I went to the church. It was a small parish. They told us to bring candles, olive oil, and a bucket of water, which were readily available in the church premises. Outside the church auditorium, I was made to kneel and was prayed for by a woli prophet. and instructed to bet behind the church, which I did. I went back home after this. By the next day, the mess of a skin rashes had disappeared from my skin. Miracle or what? I did not need any further convincing to become a white robe-wearing member of the fold. The next day, I went to buy my robe and decided to make that my church. That was how I became a member of the Celestial Church of Christ. I was not alone. A few of my schoolmates began to worship there too. Amongst them were my close friend Thomas Obaseki, Michael Ipelu, and John Omachonu. Every year, members would go on pilgrimage to Mecca, not the one in Saudi Arabia. This Mecca is in Ajase, Porto Novo, the hometown of Ushofa, the church founder. After about a year after we started attending the church, almost all my colleagues were anointed as Adeno church wardens and given a cross and waistband. For some reason, I refused this anointing. So, how did I end up getting proposals from a multiple prophetesses of the church? Share caused it. I had applied for a share scholarship, and throughout the application period to the subsequent examination and winning, I was very devoted to church, and I believe this helped with a favorable outcome. When I got the scholarship, the church organized a send-off party for me, which took place at our house, number 7, Zabayo Street, in Benin. I cannot forget that day. Prophecy after prophecy came through different prophetesses, all saying that God was instructing me to marry them. They would sway back and forth, dance, and pronounce like people drunk in the spirit. One prophetess or another would prophesy, God said I should marry you. I could not understand what was going on. How could God be asking me to marry so many ladies at once? That spectacle notwithstanding, the church gave me a lovely send-off with all of us wearing our white robes and dancing. They took my robes, candles, olive oil, and incense and prayed on them. I later traveled to England with the items. Chapter 6. Life-changing scholarships. Knowing what to do with opportunities is as important as getting them. This is why I never toyed with the opportunity of schooling. With God on my side, I was able to excel beyond my expectations. My admission and successful exit from Edo College was based on merit. Though I had had a slow start, by the third year I made first position. This qualified me for a scholarship, and the Benin local authorities gave me one. That means they took up the responsibility for all my school-related expenses. The equivalent of the local authority is the local government authority, LGA, in Nigeria. For the rest of my secondary school days, I continued to maintain the first position and so remain on the BLA list scholarship. The scholarship notwithstanding, my education almost came to an end after school due to lack of funds due to lack of funding. In those days, post-primary school education was run on a 5-year secondary education, followed by a 2-year higher school education. Before university, after my 5th year in secondary school and obtaining my West African School Certificate, WASI, due to lack of funds, my father decided to focus on my younger siblings' education. Thankfully, Mr. Castro V. Alonso, as earlier mentioned, came to my rescue by funding my HSC education. For the HSC, I studied applied maths, pure maths, physics, and chemistry, and I passed all the subjects. The year 1970s share scholarship was a significant one in my life. It was the year I stumbled by divine orchestration on a copy of the Nigerian Outlook newspaper, in which Share BP, now Share Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, SPDC, advertised application for scholarships to study marine engineering and nautical science abroad. I was captivated by the adverts. I immediately saw the opportunity to better my life. If only I could be one of those choosing for the scholarship, I said to myself. It would be a game changer. In those days, the courses young Nigerians pursued were law, mechanical engineering, structural engineering, or electrical engineering, medicine, and architecture. For some unexplainable reason, none of the courses appealed to me. I was still pondering on the alternatives available for consideration when I saw that share advert. Pronto, I decided to apply for it. From Enugu, I sent my application to the share office, which was in Lagos. Share told us straight away that 4,000 people had applied and only 4 will be selected. 2 for marine engineering, 2 for nautical engineering. I was going to Lagos for the aptitude test interviews. They gave